Okay, hear us out. Ty Simpson's going to be one of the top 3 quarterbacks in the SEC this year.
You are Locked On Bama, your daily podcast on the Alabama Crimson Tide, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey, everybody, and welcome back into Locked On Bama, AHSA Radio Network's Luke Robinson. That's me. Alabama internet legend Jimmy Stein. That's him. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. We'll talk about Monarch Money in just a little bit. I want to thank you everydayers for being here every day. Thank you newbies for being here today. And thanks to everybody for making us your first listen every single day. You guys are the best. Want to say in advance, I forgot my microphone on this work trip. So if I sound a little bit echoey, blame it on a loft in Memphis. Don't blame it on me. Or send all your hate emails to Jimmy. He is our official hate email getter.
They do pile up.
So, Jimmy, I have discovered a disturbing trend from some folks who listen, and we appreciate everybody who listens, even those who disagree with us. You can be wrong all you want to. But there's some folks that are like, you guys just are absolutely frothing at the mouth over the prospects of Ty Simpson. I don't think that's it. In fact, I was saying early in the summer that I thought Kalen Russell would overtake him. I no longer think that. I think Ty Simpson is going to be good. I think he's going to be really good. But this whole conversation came up because we're on a text chain with all the Locked On SEC hosts. And one of our hosts, who hosts the Ole Miss site, does a great job. He's got the best setup of any of us, by the way, in terms of like his man cave basement thing. But he said, I'm about to tick off some Texas and Florida fans because I'm going to say Austin Simmons is the best young quarterback in this conference. And Texas fans are going to lose their mind because of Arch Manning, and Florida fans are going to lose their mind because of DJ Lagway. He's not saying he's the best quarterback in this league. I mean, that plum is obviously going to go to I want to say Landon Duckworth again. We had to start over recording because I said Lenore Sellers. And Garrett,
that's the qualifier young. He's the qualifier young. So I guess he wasn't saying Austin Simmons better than Nussmeier and Lenore Sellers, I guess.
By the way, isn't Austin Simmons the guy who graduated at age 15 or something, graduated high school at age 15?
He's so young, it would have knocked Ryan Williams off the front page. He just wasn't playing, when he was, quote, that young, but he showed up to Ole Miss. I'm sure he was 17 when he showed up to Ole Miss because he was young and then reclassified. And, I'm not a big reclassification fan, as you all know. I mean, obviously there's going to be exceptions to that rule, but we'll see. I know this. Stephen Willis, the Ole Miss Locked On guy, he's not the only one. There are some Ole Miss people close to the program that are insanely high on Austin Simmons. I hope it's what he's been showing them on the practice field, and it's not an overreaction to the one series he had against the Georgia Bulldogs last year when he came in for a hurt Jackson Dart led Ole Miss down the field, scored a touchdown against Georgia. And that was kind of, I think a lot of Ole Miss fans, they're high on him over that, which I understand it. But boy, I say all the time, the enemy of a good evaluation is small sample size. That's about as small a sample size as you can get.
Okay. But it did raise the question with me, and we didn't bring it up in the text chain because I didn't want to start another firestorm. But I mean, I started thinking, why wouldn't that be Ty Simpson? Now, you could make the case Ty Simpson doesn't qualify as young, but I'm going to make the case that Ty Simpson. I'm going to say this. I'm going to make a prediction. This is going to be this is
loud.
Ty Simpson's going to be an all SEC performer. 1, 2, team 1, 2, or 3, and I don't think it'll be 1 or 2.
That's a loud prediction because I've been raving all summer long about how deep the SEC is in high quality quarterbacks. I mean, and in terms of proven guys, I mean, Nussmeier's proven, Sellers proven, Lagway, as far as I'm concerned, proven. John Mateer, very proven. I know Arch is unproven, but I couldn't be more confident in the assertion that Arch is going to be great. You got Ty Simpson. You got Ole Miss fans just so excited about Austin Simmons. The guy I leave out all the time might be the best one of all of them, frankly, and Diego Pavia, who I think we sort of forget him at times because we say, oh, Vanderbilt, oh, gimmicky. I don't know. You look at Diego Pavia's numbers, and they're pretty ridiculous. They're frankly Heisman worthy. He just can't win the Heisman at Vanderbilt going 6-6. They're going to have to do something more spectacular than that win-loss wise. But this league is full of great quarterbacks. For you to predict that Ty will be first, second, or third team is a heck of what I'd call a loud or bold prediction. But I don't disagree. I'm not going to sit here and say you're wrong because I've been driving the Ty train for quite a while. I think Ty's going to be really good myself. I don't know that I would go that far, but I don't doubt it. I won't. It won't surprise me. The only thing that one thing will surprise me, and that's if Ty's not good and has to be replaced. That will surprise me if Ty's so not good that they go with one of the other two. Keelan, super talented, probably not ready. Austin, Matt, closer to ready. I'm just not convinced he's got the ceiling, that Keelan Russell has. But I'm super high on Ty. I'll tell you one more thing while I've got the floor. I'll go ahead and get it out of my system now. You know one thing that's going to infuriate me is when Ty's good and all we read or hear from Alabama fans is why wasn't he playing last year? It's gonna.
Oh, that's coming.
It's gonna drive me nuts because if for 100 reasons, but I'll just go with one right now, and that's when Arch is great, then why didn't Sark bench Quinn Ewers last year? And he wasn't going to do that. Just like DeBoer wasn't going to bench Milroe, and Milroe got drafted 4 rounds higher than Quinn Ewers, and Arch Manning, probably better player than Ty Simpson, to be honest, and he didn't bench his senior leader, dependable, winning quarterback, and so it's gonna upset me. But y'all are used to me being upset and ranting and being the old man, shaking my fist at the clouds.
I'm already regretting that I've made this proclamation because I'm now thinking I'm going to be wrong. But it's almost me, like I just sort of got my hackles up a little bit thinking about, hey, look, Ty's going to be in a bunch of big games. He's going to be in a bunch of primetime moments. He's got a fantastic receiving core. He's got offensive coordinator that is probably going to be better than last year's offensive coordinator. He's got a really good offensive line. Got a great center. That's always crucial. Got a lot of tight end options. I'm buying in. I'm buying in more and more. And I understand some people are like, you're just gumping out all over Bama. Okay, fine. Can I do it one time? Can I Bama up one time? Can y'all let me do that?
So many people consider it blind optimism. Oh, you're just blind optimist because you're just always going to be optimistic about Alabama. There's logical reasons that Ty is very likely to be good. And let's start with the fact he's a 5-star prospect, a 5-star. And the last few Alabama guys that have taken over at the same age as Ty, Mac Jones, Jake Coker, Blake Sims, Greg McElroy, all those guys won championships and they took over late in their careers. None of them were 5 stars. Ty is. And nothing's happened to his skills to diminish. He hasn't been hurt. So there's a logical reason. Why is Jimmy and Luke so high on Ty? I mean, why them two? Here's someone else high on Ty. Kalen DeBoer. Kalen DeBoer knew Ty was likely to be his quarterback. Did he go to the transfer portal in the winter? No. He saw Ty first team all spring. Did he go to the transfer portal in the spring? No. Is Keelan Russell and Ty Simpson battling neck and neck? No. Ty's ahead. The coaches have told us he is. It's not just Jimmy and Luke. It's Kalen DeBoer kind of loudly saying, Ty's pretty good. I know he's not going to say those words out loud until you see it in games, but I judge people by their actions as much as their words. And actions are they believe in Ty, or they would be doing something else.
Yeah. I mean, I do immediately regret predicting this. Can I go back on it and say he will be in all SEC contention?
It's just I don't think it's a crazy thing to say at all. I expect him to play that well. I think the only reason he might not be is just because the league is so crowded with so good. This is a great QB league. I know the Big 12 is getting a lot of attention. Some of these SEC guys aren't quite as proven. I think they're going to be really good. Even teams in the league, Bo Pribula, Missouri might be really good. I think people are a little harsh on Gunnar Stockton. Kirby Smart believes in him. I mean, Kirby's a Gunnar Stockton fan, and Kirby sort of knows what he's doing, right? I think the league is just full of good quarterbacks.
It is. And, but, when I think about John Mateer, and certainly he'd be an option, but I mean, I wonder what kind of receivers they have because they lost their best receivers, and so
right.
I just look at it like Ty's got the pieces around him. I'm not saying he's going to have a Vince Young type of year. I'm saying he's going to be third team on the SEC. I don't think that's nuts.
No. And some people, I think it's Jordan Rodgers, somebody on the SEC network said John Mateer would win the Heisman. My first thought was, does he have enough receivers to make that happen? Because
they have the schedule to make that happen. I mean,
exactly.
When's the last time somebody won the Heisman without winning a bunch of games?
Yeah, the schedule is too tough for Oklahoma. I saw just today, because we're going to talk about it in segment 2, but Oklahoma plays as many top 25 teams as anybody, and I question the receivers. But I know this. I knew all about Mateer. Mateer's not new to me as a college football guy, but the Mateer I've seen this summer and in fall camp and that they've covered on SEC Network, and I saw him at SEC Media Days, the more I learn about Mateer, the more sold I am on this guy as a legitimate dude. But I'm with you, Luke. He does have a great running back in Jaden Ott, the transfer from Cal. But they lost, I think, their best playmaking receiver, Nick Anderson, to LSU. He's going to be probably their wide receiver one, which is saying a lot this year with as deep a group as they've got. But, yeah, I'm big on Mateer. I still say Arch Manning will be the best quarterback in the league.
Time to talk a little Monarch Money. You ever wish managing your money felt a little easier? With Monarch Money, it can. Whether you're growing your savings or planning a big purchase, Monarch puts you in the driver's seat. It's like having your own personal seat, giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money is more than just a budgeting app. It's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place. So in addition to managing your money, you're also building wealth. That's something that's just quite awesome. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONCOLLEGE at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, and the code is LOCKEDONCOLLEGE. All one word for half off your first year at Monarch Money. Okay, Jimmy, the coaches poll is out, and it's a little interesting. I'm going to pull up a graphic of it here in a second so we can talk about it and, just have it in front of us. And so anything strike you from it immediately?
I've read is this the lowest Alabama has started since 2008? And I'm not surprised. I think that's well earned by Alabama's 3 losses a year ago in the regular season.
4 losses.
Well, I said 3 in the regular season and 4 total.
Yeah,
so
okay, I got you.
Well earned for Alabama to start off lower than they've started since 2008. But I don't hate where Alabama is. I don't think that there's teams ahead of them that shouldn't be based on what happened a year ago. And that's what these early polls, there's a lot of influence on what happened just last season. Nothing stood out to me other than, wow, a great opening weekend of games. I think there's about 3 top 10 matchups opening weekend. Texas versus Ohio State's a top 10 matchup. LSU versus Clemson is a top 10 matchup. Notre Dame versus Miami is a top 10 matchup opening weekend. So unbelievable that there would be 3 different top 10 games going on. That's just awesome. And then I just look at, I'm obviously looking at Alabama stuff, where Alabama plays number 4 and number 13 on the road, though you do get 9 and 18 at home. And the way I look at it, Luke, is Alabama's got to go 2-2 in those games to make the playoffs and then win all the others. Last year, the problem was you didn't win all the others. You lost to teams outside the top 25, which is a big problem of trying to make the playoff. But in terms of doing what you're supposed to do, Alabama's got to go 2-2 against those 4 opponents that are in that top 25.
Yeah, and I probably should have figured out a way to put this up without blocking you while you're talking, because it looked weird. Like I'm just sitting here like a mannequin in here. But
I'm the voice behind the curtain, like Jeff Goldblum and Wicked.
Yeah, and it does strike me that I didn't see Wicked, by the way. It does strike me that Texas, who gets a lot of ribbing for its schedule, and rightfully so, but they do have to go to Ohio State and to Georgia, who are number 2 and number 4 in this poll. So
for an easy schedule,
it's not easy.
That's eye-opening. I think everything is relative in the SEC. I mean, if you talk about, I think there's 3 or 4 teams in the SEC that don't look good to me. Mississippi State and Kentucky, they're probably not great. I don't know that Arkansas is capable of beyond 6-6, though they think so. I'm not going to put Auburn in that group. I don't believe. But the point being, hey, even if you got to go play Kentucky and Lexington, I mean, Ole Miss lost to Kentucky last year. Even if you got to play Mississippi State and Starkville, which might be a landmine of a bit for Arizona State, who thinks they're in the playoff, but you got to beat Mississippi State and Starkville. Those aren't gimmies, and those are the worst teams in the league. So I just don't think there is an easy schedule in the SEC. There's easier than others, and I would lump Texas in there, along with my dark horse playoff team, Tennessee, which is solely schedule related. I like Tennessee's schedule in terms of them winning a lot of games. That's because you're looking at Tennessee and losing Nico and losing what they lost defensively. But that's because you're looking at facts, Luke. What are you talking about? Now, you're looking at them losing those guys, but I look at the schedule. When I said there's 4 easy teams, they play the 4 worst. They're the only team in the SEC that play 16, 15, 14, and 13. In terms of where the media lined up the teams, they're the only team in the league that plays 16, 15, 14, and 13. I think that's a tremendous gift. Now, they probably are going to have to win a game that they'll be an underdog in to make the playoff, at least one. But they might do it, especially at home, where they've been tough to beat. And they've been a really good team 2 or 3 years in a row, and they've continued to recruit. Hey, look, I'm sort of hoping they are good, because I think when they come, or at least they're undefeated or 1 loss or whatever when they get to Tuscaloosa, because it'll make it look better. And I don't think they're going to be a great team. So I think the win will look better than it is. But of course, if they get there undefeated, they will have beaten Georgia, and they will have beaten Florida too. So don't they go to the Swamp this year? I think they play at Florida and at Alabama. At Florida. Yeah. I think they may have to beat Georgia to make the playoff. Yeah. And that's the part that sounds crazy, especially to Luke, and I get that. But I don't rule out Tennessee beating Georgia in Knoxville with this Georgia team, which has more questions than any Georgia team since probably 2016. Yeah. But just looking at this schedule again, by my quick math, there are 9 SEC teams in the top 21. That's pretty. I mean, again, somebody like a Danny Cannell will say that is because of SEC bias. And I mean, look at this again. Texas plays Ohio State. Now, Georgia plays nobody this year. We know that. They play Georgia Tech, who, by the way, I think should be in this poll somewhere. But most everybody plays somebody pretty good in this top 25. Now, Wisconsin and Florida State aren't in it, but I mean, historically they are, and I would say they're probably in the also receiving votes category. Florida State is, I know. Yeah, I can't believe Wisconsin. Cannell would say that that's SEC bias, and I get that he's going to say that, and there's too many, and who knows if there'll be 9 teams in it at the end. But you know what? Texas A&M was the lowest ranked team of all the SEC teams, and that thing. Texas A&M was the lowest ranked team. They would be favored to beat multiple teams ranked ahead of them For instance, if Indiana played at A&M, A&M would be favored. If SMU played A&M at A&M, A&M would be favored. A&M might be favored on the road at SMU and Indiana, and they're ranked ahead of A&M. So I wouldn't necessarily say, boy, that's a lot of SEC bias. As a matter of fact, I would say you might have A&M too low. They'd be favored to beat some of those teams you're ranked ahead of them.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt. And again, boy, I really hope the SEC. I mean, look, I'm never going to pull for Auburn to win, and I'm kind of hoping that LSU doesn't win at Clemson. But boy, it's going to. Texas A&M needs to win against Notre Dame. Texas needs to beat Ohio State. We need to beat FSU in Wisconsin.
Let's start there.
Yeah, let's start there. Let the rough end drag on the rest of it. I'm with you on that. Let's talk a little 5-hour energy now, because man, I'm going to need it tomorrow. We're putting up a fountain in Memphis, and I'm going to be getting me some 5-hour energy. And it's time to fuel up and turn it up with 5-hour energy transfusion. It brings the bold grape, ginger, and lime flavor of your favorite golf drink, minus the alcohol, into a quick, energizing shot. Whether you're sinking birdies or just making memories with friends, this one's a hole-in-one for your energy game. Let's be honest. Some days on the course or even off of it, you just need that extra boost to stay sharp and energized. And look, the last time I played golf was in the Dominican Republic, and I promise you this, I could have used some 5-hour energy because I was god-awful. So I'm not going –
Maybe you had to swim there.
I'm never playing golf again without 5-hour energy transfusion. Golf is all about good times with good people and good flavors. Of course, the grape ginger lime flavor gives you the best parts of your clubhouse go-to drink without chasing down the beverage cart. If you go to 5hourenergy.com, that's the number 5, hourenergy.com, you can use my promo code LOCKEDONGOLF to receive 20% off your first order. This offer is only valid until September 30th on one order and cannot be used with other promotions. The code is not good on subscription orders, but 5-hour energy is really good, so go try it. Well, Steve Wiltfong has Fong-bombed Elijah Golden to Notre Dame. That's not crazy. It's been trending that way. I think he ends up at Notre Dame. But, you know, I know Alabama's still giving it the old college try, literally.
Yeah, Alabama's in it. Alabama's talked to him. I don't think we should be surprised if it's Notre Dame. I think me and you have both said Notre Dame for quite some time in terms of who's the projected leader here. I think Golden's been pretty easy to follow in terms of the visits and his comments. And I wasn't surprised at all to see Steve Wiltfong's Fong bomb. He has a good batting average. The BOL guys have not conflicted. Sometimes they do. Every now and then the BOL guys will say, well, not so sure here, and put on the brakes, but they haven't, in this case. And I think he's going to go to Notre Dame. Now, is that bad for Alabama? Sure, because they would have liked to have added Elijah Golden, just like they'd have liked to have added Tank Jones last week. And you might think, gosh, that defensive line, if they could have added one more guy. I agree. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just pointing this out, that the only defensive lineman you're losing from this team, from this group, is LT Overton and Tim Keenan. They're the only seniors. That's 2.
The big ones.
And they are talented dudes. You might be losing James Smith to the draft, potentially. So let's say you're losing 2.5 guys in the instance that James Smith is going. Well, you have 4 commitments. So you have Nolan Wilson, Jamarian Matthews, J.J. Finch, and Maury Johnson. So you got 4 guys replacing 2.5. So you do not have a numbers issue there unless you lose a couple of guys or more to the transfer portal. And if so, then that gives you more ammunition to go into the portal yourself and find somebody. So there's no numbers issue up front. That's what I want to say. Luke makes a great point. It is true. You're losing some talented dudes in LT Overton and Tim Keenan. So you hope the guys you're bringing in you're not lowering the temperature, lowering the talent level of the room. That would be a fair question to discuss, because LT and Tim Keenan are so good, and the guys you're bringing in aren't quote 5 stars. Of course, Keenan was basically a 3-star, and but LT Overton was a 5-star prospect who was late in his career, is now living up to that.
But the good news is Alabama does still lead for Monshun Sales out of Indianapolis. This is a wide receiver. Again, the kind of wide receiver this staff seems to love. Bigger guy. I think he's got some Alabama ties. Was he originally from Alabama?
I think he's originally from Alabama. He loves Alabama. And for a 5-star from Indianapolis, this is a kid who really likes Alabama. Does that mean he's definitely going to Alabama, as we've learned with Tank Jones and other situations? No, he's going to be a costly player. This is a 5-star national elite recruit. But I like Alabama's position with him as of now, and it would be a really big deal. Let's remember this, though, about, hey, Alabama's my favorite. Kids that are in these recruiting classes, the 26 class, the 27 class, the only Alabama they've ever known is the Nick Saban Alabama. Since the day they fell out of the womb, this is the Alabama they've known.
Where were these kids being born? They just fell.
They're just falling out. They just fall out. They're found on sidewalks. They just fall out.
Apparently, that's how I do it, because I've got 4 of them.
Well, they fell out during Nick Saban era. It's sort of like a kid, that's born in 1917, and now he's 10 or 12 years old, is a baseball fan, and he likes the Yankees. Well, that's a good time to like the Yankees, because they didn't lose much during the Ruth and Gehrig and going forward era. That's sort of like these kids that are, they didn't, the pre Nick Saban Alabama might as well be in the history books. That's like fictional thing to them, like Abraham Lincoln or Napoleon, just fictional characters and so far in the past.
All right, that's going to do it for today's Locked On Bama. We'll be back tomorrow with more. Until then, roll tide, everybody.
Roll tide.